Yo, what's good? What's good? Your boy Severe Raider here. You know what? No need to fear, Raider Nation. I'm here with all the winds blow 12 months of the year. What's good? Yo, big news. Huge news. Crazy news. Coming off a crazy loss to the Bengals, right? Our fifth loss in a row. The Raiders have decided to move on from several of their high-ranking offensive coaches, namely Luke Getsy. But in addition to Luke Getsy, that firing was announced early on. The next guys they moved on from were Rich Scangarello as well as James Cregg, who are their quarterbacks coach and their offensive line coach respectively. So just like there are big changes coming. Man, so let's talk about it. Let's hit up the chat real quick. My guy SoCal Sal, salute. Yeah, man. So it was first announced by Tom Pelissero that Luke Getsy was going to be fired. And then it was later on said by Vic Tafer, or not by Vinny Bonsignore, that there were going to be changes that were going to be made above and beyond that, and that stay tuned. There's going to be a long night ahead, and that there's a lot of speculation about what that could mean, right? A lot of speculation about what that could mean. Some people thought, hey, maybe they were saying it could be Antonio Pierce, maybe it could be some front office guys, maybe there's going to be some players or something like that. But it looks like subsequent to the firing of Luke Getsy, they went ahead and they fired Rich Scangarello and James Cregg, who were, two of the higher profile hirings. Rich Scangarello was a quarterbacks coach. He's a guy that, supposed to be well respected in the league. We had some reservations initially when we hired him. He was offensive coordinator in college, and it did not go well there. I believe it was for Kentucky, I want to say. And, his play calling was called in question there. But he's a guy that, this offseason, number one overall pick and, consensus number one overall pick in the draft, Caleb Williams. He was one of the guys that was training Caleb Williams. And then James Cregg is a guy that came over from the 49ers organization. They're a team that, runs this wide zone scheme that we implemented with Luke Getsy. And he's a guy that he was a assistant offensive line coach over there. And we were hoping that, he'd be able to transfer some of the success they were having over there and bring it over here. But unfortunately, that never materialized. So he has been subsequently fired. I can only assume, maybe Joe Philbin is a guy who has a background in offensive line coaching. Maybe he takes a more hands-on approach there in terms of dealing with the offensive line. In terms of who's going to be our quarterbacks coach, I haven't the slightest clue. Scott Turner, who was in the booth today, I guess he's been kind of speculated that he's going to be the offensive coordinator, but we don't know, man. We don't know, and that's what's crazy right now. We simply do not know. We have no idea what's going to go on right now. So, it's just crazy time in Raider Nation, man. And I'm a guy. Look, I did not want this move to happen, right? I did not want this move to happen, namely because everybody knows I am hashtag SS all day. If you don't know what that means, that is strategic substitutions, which is basically a nice way of saying tank, right? People don't want to say that's a dirty word. You never want to ask players to lose. Now that's never the situation you want to be in. But it comes to a situation where we're not in a position where we're going to make any run to the playoffs this year. We see that we have a crazy need at the quarterback position. We've been having a need there for quite some time. I think, a lot of Raider Nation, they kind of fell out of love with Derek Carr some time ago. Half of the nation still was kind of holding on to hope that he can be a franchise guy. But, a lot of us realized a long time ago he wasn't a franchise guy. That's why many of us were so happy when we finally did move on from him. But now that it looks like, we are not going to be in position to compete like many of us thought we would early in the offseason, right? There are a lot of people that thought we'd be able to at least, make a run at a wild card spot, if not make a wild card spot for sure. We were hoping that Gardner Minshew would be a Band-Aid. Many of us wanted us to draft a quarterback in this past draft. Unfortunately, the position we were in terms of where we were picking in the draft, we're 13. There were 6 guys that were picked in front of us. So we weren't really in a position to make any moves there. But now that, we are finally in that position, we have to do what we need to do to solidify that top 5 pick and to bring in our own guy. I repeat this stat all the time, right? If you look at the teams that made the playoffs last year, salute to my guy Steve. Oh my God, my guy Steve. Hey, I guess Steve has some pull in Raider organization. So everybody that wanted to guess he fired, you could thank Steve for that. But look at the teams that made the playoff last year, right? I think all but 3 of the quarterbacks last year of the, I think 14 teams make the playoffs. All but 3 of them were not 14. I forgot. Yeah, but all but 3 of them were first round picks, right? The guys that weren't first round picks were Dak, Jalen Hurts, and Brock Purdy. Right. So all the other guys were first round picks. Only 2 guys that were quarterbacks that made the playoffs last year were free agent acquisitions, and that was Baker Mayfield and Joe Flacco. And those were kind of special situations. So the Raiders, they need to do what they need to do to lose at this point, right? They need to do what they need to do to lose, because if not, we're going to find ourselves in the same position over and over again. Well, was I okay with Luke Getsy being fired? I was okay with it. I don't think it should have happened because, quite honestly, I don't think we have the talent on this team to really compete right now. I don't think anybody can look at what we have offensively, what we have at the quarterback position, what we have on the offensive line, what we have at skill positions right now outside of Brock Bowers, and say this is a team that we expect to put up big points. Even before the year, Antonio Pierce said himself, right? He's like, look, we're not going to be no juggernaut offensively. And I don't think that he has the guy in place at the quarterback position that he feels comfortable with going going with in the future, right? He said specifically he didn't want a Band-Aid. And then we didn't, allow ourselves, or we didn't put ourselves in a position where we can get one of these top-notch signal callers, and for that very reason, we had to go with a Band-Aid, right? Before the season, he said worst case scenario was Aiden O'Connell, and then we ended up with Gardner Minshew battling out with Aiden O'Connell. So I don't think Luke Getsy was put in a position to really succeed. But that being said, at the end of the day, it's his responsibility to get these guys up for game day. It's his responsibility to teach the scheme. It's his responsibility to get the guys to go through to roll with his offensive system the way he sees fit, right? And if he's not getting that necessary production out of the guys, then some of the execution piece, while I put the lion's share of that with the players, some of that also falls with the coaches, because you guys are coaches, right? That's your job, right? So like, you guys are employed for a reason. So I can't say that he was innocent in all of this. He played his part. And for the part he played, unfortunately, he lost his job. So to my guy, SoCal Sal, I agree. I guess at the end of the year, he was leading us to that topic. Man, exactly. Look, right now, it is all about SS. That is hashtag strategic substitutions. We need to do what we need to do to secure a top pick. And I think that, like Luke Getsy, hey, that's why I said, hey, keep Luke Getsy, keep Minshew in there. Both of those guys were doing exactly what we need to do to get us a top pick. So I was all good with them staying for as long as they needed to stay if we were going to get a top pick, because we need a quarterback. We see what that can do to transform an organization. We saw it happen with the Bengals. They were picking number 1 overall. Joe Burrow gets hurt his first year. I want to say his second year there in the Super Bowl. We see what happened with CJ Stroud and the Texans. We see what's happening right now with Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Even Caleb Williams, right? Like they're turning around he's turning around the Chicago Bears. So they're a much more competitive team than they were last year. So I just think that signal caller, that is the great equalizer. If you look at the Super Bowl matchup last year between the Chiefs and the 49ers, right? And we know we don't have a Patrick Mahomes walking through the door, right? I did, most likely. But the 49ers at every single position, they were better than the Chiefs, right? They were better the offensive line, better defensively, better at wideout, better even better at tight end, because as an all-around tight end, I think Kittle is a better all-around tight end than Kelsey. Kelsey obviously is a better pass catching tight end, but all around, Kittle is the better player. So they were only 2 places they weren't better than them was the quarterback and head coach. So that quarterback and head coach, that is the great equalizer in the NFL. My guy Steve, what is the percent that AP is staying for next year? If he does stay, what OCs would you want? The percent for AP staying next year. If you would have asked me this before the firing of Luke Getsy, I would have put it at like 75-80%. Now I'm like in the 57 to 60% because this was a desperate move. This is not a move you make if you're a guy that's secure in your job, right? This is not a move you make if, hey, no matter what happens this year, I know I'm coming back next year. So I can take these lumps now. I can kind of see if we can fight through this rough patch, if we can kind of right the ship, if we can rally the troops and improve later on. But like that's not what AP did. AP, like this is like the panic button. Like this is literally the panic button. When you fire your offensive coordinator, your quarterback coach, and your offensive line coach, like in the middle of the year, that is a panic button type move. That is a desperate move, seemingly made by a desperate man who is seeking to keep his job. So, yeah, I put it somewhere like high 50 percentile. But even then, man, you don't know. You don't know. Shout out to Assassin's Creed, Star Ritter, and Bradley. Look, hey, I'm cool starting Desmond. Hey, I'm cool. Look, I'm cool starting whoever is going to produce the necessary result. And we all know what the necessary result is, and that is to not win games, right? I'm not looking to win a whole bunch of games this year. I think the season is a wash. Even if we were to somehow make some miraculous turnaround and we win the next however many games in a row as it was how many games, like eight games in a row after this bye week. We go 10-7. Like we're not going to be a team that's going to compete for anything in the playoffs. Even to get to the playoffs, it's going to be one and done. I want to get something that is going to help us win in the future. And that winning in the future is a quarterback, right? Sometimes you got to go through temporary pain to get a positive result later. Anybody that works out, right? Hey, you know what? When you're working out, when you're strong, you got the weight on the bench, or you're curling, or you're doing your squats. Like that's pain, right? You get pain while you're doing it. You're sore as hell afterwards. But guess what? You build those muscles, and those muscles make you stronger later on, and then you can do more later on than you could that day. So you go through that little bit of pain to produce that positive result, and as a result, also you get a better physique, you look better, get more good, like all that stuff. But the point is that you have to deal with that temporary pain, and right now we're dealing with the temporary pain of losing. We have to be able to deal with that, right? We've been dealing with it regardless. We've just been half-assed at doing it. So it's no point in trying to win these meaningless games. We've seen what result that has produced in the past. Winning meaningless games late in the year. That's how you end up with Cleveland Farrell, right? That's how you end up at 13 overall. We got lucky and fortunate that we got Brock Bowers, but guess what? Guess what we missed out on? We missed out on Jane Daniels. Missed out on Michael Penix, right? Some people like Bo Nix. I don't know how you feel about Bo Nix. If you like JJ McCarthy, I don't know how you feel about JJ McCarthy, but we missed out on all those guys because in the time where we were losing games with our previous head coach, we decided we wanted to start winning games all of a sudden with our interim head coach. Shout out to my guy, Pharaoh. Yeah, make sure you guys, hit that like button. Make sure y'all sub. It's a crazy night. We're gonna see what other news develops. But right now, they have been announced that the Raiders have relieved of their duties. Offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, as well as offensive line coach James Cregg, as well as quarterbacks coach Rich Scangarello. So we'll see. My assumption, I think that Scott Turner was in the booth today, so he's likely the guy that is going to take over the play calling duties. He has experience in the past. Edgar Bennett has been an offensive coordinator in the past, but I don't believe he called plays. He was offensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers. Ironically, he was offensive coordinator. I believe at that time, Luke Getsy was the wide receiver coach, I believe, when Edgar Bennett was the offensive coordinator. So, we gotta do what we gotta do at this point, man. Like I said, it's no point in continuing to fight this losing fight. And it's wash, rinse, repeat, right? We wash, rinse, repeat. Every year we go into the year, optimism high. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And then our hopes are dashed, and then the draft comes and we get hope again, and then the offseason and training camp, and then we start the season high hopes, and then the same thing happens again. And it's not going to change without a quarterback, right? It's not going. How many teams do you see right now that are being successful with bad quarterback play? Like none of them. None of them. They all have their guys, and just about all of the guys that are having success are are um are highly drafted guys, right? Like outside of even the 49ers aren't having a great deal of success this year. But outside of you think about the 49ers, Brock Purdy, obviously, Mr. Irrelevant. Jalen Hurts was a second round pick. Dak Prescott was a third or fourth round pick. I don't recall. I don't recall. So I know we picked Connor Cook in the third round that year. And Cowboys actually had their eyes on taking Connor Cook, and we took Connor Cook before them, and they lucked into drafting Dak Prescott. So, but most of these other guys, first round picks. Jordan Love, first round pick. CJ Stroud, obviously, first round pick. Caleb Williams, first round pick. Jaden Daniels, first round pick. Tua, when he was healthy, first round pick. Jared Goff, number 1 overall. Kirk Cousins is a outlier as well. So he's another guy that was kind of a late drafted guy. But generally, the people that have the most success are the people that are first round picks. My guy Pharaoh said, start always AOC when you get back and let Minshew start the fourth quarter. Road to number 1. Yeah, man. Look, like no matter who we go with on this roster right now, quarterback, man, we don't have a guy the guy that might actually try the hardest and is Desmond Ridder, right? I don't know if he'll have the most success, but he's a guy that he's gonna go out there and give it his all. So, and even today, he fumbled, like he turned the ball over. So it's like I don't think we have a guy on this roster, to be honest with you, that's gonna do anything. Very severe said 7-3. You already know what time it is, Steve Oriana. I didn't have the greatest week this week though, so I gotta. I'm not gonna talk as much smack on around the shield. I think they actually picked up some games on me, man. So some teams let me down. The Browns pick, that was a wild pick. I'm regretting that pick, as well as the Seahawks. Seahawks kind of let me down, but anyway, man, it's not about those picks, man. This is about Luke Getsy, man. So what do you guys think we go from here, man? What do you guys think we do from here? I mean, Scott Turner is likely the guy that's going to be calling plays. I mean, what do you guys kind of think that this means for our season going forward? Is this like full on embrace the tank? Is this a move where we're actually trying to win games, or what do you think this says? Shout out to my guy SoCal Sal. He said Prescott was a 4. There you go. Yes, I remember we drafted Connor Cook in the 3rd that year, and that was a horrible traffic. Yes, and the Cowboys wanted Connor Cook, so we actually assisted them and not taking him, which was terrible. So my guy right away. But yeah, man, I'm just like and I know the speculation, right? We all know what the speculation is going to be. I've already seen it in other chats. I've seen it on social media. The speculation is going to be it's Tom Brady. Oh, baby, Tom Brady gets in the building and changes start happening. Tom Brady, he made a call. He ordered the code red, right? He made sure he sent a text to AP or sent a text to Mark Davis, is like, get this done. And I don't know if that's the case, man. I don't know if that's the case, because I think this is the logical time to do it. If you're going to fire your offensive coach, if you're gonna fire your offensive coach and trying to implement some a little bit of a new system, the bye week is the ideal time to do it, where you get basically 2 weeks to make these necessary changes, to implement the new system, and to get your guys on board with it. So this would be the perfect time to do it. Like my question is that if and my guy Pharaoh right here, AP is trying to win games, but does the front office feel the same way? I don't think so. My question is that if you're trying to win games, or if your goal was to, like, hey, you know what, we're going to turn around this season, like, why wait till you're 2-9 or 2-7, right? You wait 9 games deep, like you kind of known this, like you were bad. So what's the point of winning these games late now? What is the calculation there? And that's why this firing doesn't really add up to me, because if your goal is to, hey, you know what, we want to shake things up, we want to win some games, and maybe it's a situation where AP feels the pressure that he needs to win games for his own personal job security. That's what that points to, in my opinion. Like, because the season is already lost. You're not going to make the playoffs. You're not going to do, if you do somehow miraculously by the grace of God and Buddha and Allah, you make the playoffs. Like, you're not going to do anything in the playoffs, right? This roster is depleted. It lacks depth, and it's already injured, right? We had 5, 6 injuries today. Like, this team is not in a position to do anything. So the the only thing that makes sense for this team is to start planning for the future. That's like, get a jump on that now. Like, while other teams are out there still trying to win, trying to do other stuff, get a jump on that now. The only reason you wouldn't do that is if AP is the guy that's saying, hey, you know what? um, saying, you know what, I gotta win, because if I don't win, I'm out of a job. And Assassin Creed said it best, full on embrace. And you know what he's saying, embrace. You know what embrace that SS, embrace that Chevy Impala SS, baby. Embrace the tank. You know what time it is. OC Nation, shout out to you. Put all the young talent in and see what you got. Trade what you can for draft capital. Yeah, man. That's what SS is all about, man. Strategic substitutions, right? Hey, if you want to get Desmond Ridder in there, start him some games. If you want to start Carter Bradley, right, start Ramel Keaton. If you want to bring up Sincere McCormick and let him get some looks, right? Like let Dylan Libby get some looks. Let Amari Gaynor and Amari Burney, let those guys get some looks. We saw DCam today. Trey Taylor, put him out there. Like, this is the time to do it, because this is going to be valuable reps for these guys. That first, it does two things, right? First of all, it lets you know what you have, right? It lets you know what you have. And then it also puts these guys in live game situations. So what that does is that when you're in a situation later on where you have players that get injured, you already have some young guys with game experience, and they're not being put in these situations with having never played before and never touched NFL grass in a real defensive snap, right? With their only snaps being on special teams, running down the field, like for no reason, right? To run past the guy they just call for a fair catch. They're actually in real defensive snaps with real stakes, where if they miss an assignment or if they blow a coverage, there's going to be real consequences. And that builds your depth. That gives you guys that can, hey, you know what? They've been there, they've done that, they've seen these situations. So when they're called upon to do it later, it's not a new experience to them. They aren't, being baptized by fire. They've already been baptized. They've already gone through that. So then they have that experience and they can play, a level above of what they're playing now. And now is the perfect time to do it, because this season is lost. So just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it, man. Just go ahead and do it. Let me get to the chat real quick. Who we got right here? My guy Pizzle. Shout out to my guy Pizzle. Hold up, guys. I'm super new at this, so bear with me. Yeah, but yeah, man. I really don't know where we're gonna do next. Shout out to Pizzle. My guy SoCal season wrap. See what you have and try to get a top 2 pick. Yeah, man. Like right now, it's looking like I think we're 6th in draft position. The Patriots aren't going to be taking a quarterback early on, so that puts us one up on them. But they could be in a situation where they're a team that's trying to rebuild. So if they decide they want to trade out of that spot, they can pick up a whole bunch of draft capital by trading out of that spot, and that can potentially transform their organization. So I don't see them like sticking and picking if they're in that position. I see them trying to accumulate as many picks as possible, fill as many of the holes in their roster as possible. They need help all over the place, offensively and defensively. So like we have to, like, if we're not in the top 2, we are likely not going to get Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, which is, I think those are the 2 guys that most of the nation have identified as the quarterbacks that we want. So yeah, for sure, because we ain't going to the playoffs. I mean, that was over when we lost to the Carolina Panthers. I was like, oh yeah, this is probably ain't happening for us, man. This probably isn't happening with us. Miko and Fulcrum one. I know I destroyed that. I see that looks like who was happy with this hire. I don't think a lot of people were upset with this hire. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I think they were better. Like I said in the beginning, very early on in the process, I identified Cliff Kingsbury as the guy I wanted. So I was super excited when we hired him initially. And then I was, disappointed when he elected not to take the job, and when we didn't do what was necessary for him to keep the job. And the fact that we weren't willing to give him that 3rd year. And we never really got the contract details of Antonio Pierce's contract. Me and Pharaoh, my guy, on the 50-50 show, check us out every Tuesday night. We speculated at the time because it'd be a situation that AP only has 2 years on his contract. That's why the Raiders weren't willing to give Cliff Kingsbury that third year. So does this, like I said, this it all starting to make sense, right? This move lets you know that AP is not a person that is secure in his job right now, right? He doesn't feel he's secure and he's a guaranteed lock to be the head coach of the team next year. So he's doing what he needs to do to produce the necessary results that he feels he needs to produce in order to prove that he keeps his job. And it could be a situation where AP is a Mark Davis hire, and a lot of people are speculating that Tom Brady has a little bit more say in this organization than a 10% ownership stake, or a little bit less than 10% ownership stake would lead you to believe. And right now maybe AP feels that he's not only auditioning for Mark Davis, but he's also auditioning for Tom Brady. That's the speculation. That's what we're going to hear a lot in the days and weeks ahead. I'm not sure about that. I still think that Mark Davis will rely on these other people to make, to give him advice. But I think that the final decision will rest with him. But he will rely heavily on these other people. Favorite QB in this upcoming draft right now. My favorite QB in this upcoming draft is probably Cam Ward. I mean, I think just from a talent standpoint, I think he is the most talented. But I'd be happy with either him or Shedeur. I also like Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is a guy that he's probably going to end up being a late first round pick, late or early second. I think Carson Beck's stock is dropping. Quinn Ewers' stock is dropping. Those are two guys I said early on I wasn't really a fan of. So I think both of those guys are falling. They'll probably still be first round picks ideally. So that could push a guy like Jackson Dart to the top of the second. But like I said, man, I want a first round quarterback. First round quarterback. Right. So I think it has to be those guys. Anybody but Shedeur. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like Shedeur. I mean, I think Shedeur is a guy that I think he plays very composed, and he's a guy that is playing with a lot of pressure on him. Not only for who his father is, but a lot of people want to see him fail because of who his father is and because of what they feel he represents. So he's playing with a lot of pressure. He's also playing with a terrible offensive line. That being said, I think he has some good weapons out there. He has Jimmy Horn Jr. and then he has obviously goddamn the guy totally Travis Hunter. I'm about to say his name totally slipped my mind up something. But he has Travis Hunter out there who's an elite prospect at wide receiver. So he has some weapons, but he has a terrible offensive line. And anybody that follows Pac-12 football, when Colorado was there last year, they kind of saw the beating that he took last year, and he fought through it. And then you saw the beating that sometimes he takes this year, right? So I think he's a guy that's tough. He has the Tom Brady connection. He's basically being mentored by Tom Brady. So I think that it makes sense. It makes sense that for the Raiders to be attached to him. Like there's actually, I think there was Travis Hunter and somebody else. They were on I don't know if they're on Twitch or on Instagram Live. They were doing something where they were talking about basically like, hey, you know what, Shedeur, you going to the Raiders. Like Shedeur going to the Raiders. So it was like with the first pick, Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders. So yeah, man, experience. I think it's valuable to get these guys experience. Appreciate you, Pizzle. Coach Howard the Panthers said, I don't know, because we have the head-to-head loss to them. So I don't know how they're still ahead of us. Maybe it's a strength of schedule type deal. It's the only thing I can think of. But yeah, they are still ahead of us. So, like they did us a solid though. They did us a solid today, and Derek Carr did us a solid as well. So it's like we get Derek Carr. He looked out for us today. It's a wrap. Let's see, we'll be back. Yeah, man. I mean, I think there are going to be wholesale changes on this team, roster wise. I think coming out of this bye, I think that we are no longer going to be. I mean, I think maybe the the Andre James experiment is over, right? It's like why put him back out there at this point? Why would you put him back out there? I don't see the need for it. I don't see the need for it. If you want to get a look at Thayer Munford at a guard, he looked, oh my God. And that's another thing, man. It's another thing. I keep hearing people talk about Colton Miller, get rid of Colton Miller. We saw what Thayer Munford did at left tackle today. And it's ironic. Because I just got done talking about it on my Friday show that I usually do with my guy Pharaoh and Big Mike. You catch us. No, that's every Friday night. Usually that's a pre-recorded show. So we recorded Thursday night. It airs Friday nights. But I just talked about Thayer Munford not the answer at left tackle. I said on that day, Thayer Munford is not the future at left tackle. If we get rid of Colton Miller, we're in a world of hurt because he's still a top 15-ish tackle, right? And as long as he doesn't demand some exorbitant salary, some crazy contract, you have to bring that guy back. He's only 29 years old. He's been good and healthy every year except for 2 years, his rookie year and this year. Other than that, he's been a pretty good tackle and he's been extremely durable. So he's coming off shoulder surgery this offseason. I don't think he ever really fully recovered from it. I think he was kind of pressed into duty because he thought the team was going to win. I think he thought the team was in a position to win early on, and now that they kind of see the team is not really going to be in a position to win, be interesting to see what they do with him. Do they protect him from himself, or do they roll him back out here? Do they kind of roll with? I don't think they have any other young guys unless they want to roll Thayer Munford back out there. I don't think they have any real young left tackle prospects. DJ Glaze is a guy you don't want to start moving him around. Let him get comfortable. He's been doing well at right tackle. Let him stay at right tackle. I would love to see Jordan Meredith get out there. I think he did an admirable job. He's still pretty young too. I think he's still like 26, 27. So I don't know why we're running Cody Whitehair out there anymore. There's no need. Why are we putting Andre Pete out there? There's no need. Don't. These guys are old. They're not part of the future plans. They're going to be gone next year. Why are we giving these guys valuable reps that could be going to younger players? This is not the situation where you're let's get this grizzled vet out there and see what he can do, see if he can provide us a spark. Like, why would we do that? It makes no sense. It's counterintuitive, man. It makes absolutely no sense. My good Gunsmoke, good holla at you. Sub 500 teams. Yeah. Yeah, sub 500 in the team went up from 13 to 14. Yeah. I mean, like it's a lot of losing going on. It seems to be like it's not as much parity this year as I think in year past. It seems like the really good teams are really good and the really bad teams seem to be really bad. Do I see anybody getting traded before the deadline? Honestly, no, because I don't think there's really anybody on our team that is worth getting traded. The only guy really that's worth getting traded that could possibly get traded is Colton Miller. But like I said, you don't trade that kind of player. You don't trade that kind of player. That he's still only 29 as a left tackle. I think he still has at least 5-6 good years left in him where he's like at the top of his game. And then even after that, he could probably play another like 2-3 years as like a depth piece. So I don't see anybody getting moved. Like anybody else that we would want to get. I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, trade Gardner Minshew." Like nobody wants to take on that salary. He's proven he's a bad player this year. This team, the NFL is all about what have you done for me lately. And lately, like before this year, Gardner Minshew, I said previously, right? Gardner Minshew averaged less than an interception per game. It was like 0.6 interceptions per game. Like he was literally in the record books with guys like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and Drew Brees for like the lowest interception rates and like the lowest number of interceptions through however many games and however many pass attempts. Like he was that good at not throwing picks. And all of a sudden this year, he is an interception machine. That's part of the reason probably why Rich Scangarello got fired. But but like his play has been terrible. He's not taking care of the ball. He's not seeing the field. Like he's just not playing good. And he's getting paid enough where that if we want to trade him, we're going to have to attach a pick. Like we're not going to get anything in return. We're going to have to attach a pick just for a team to try to take on that salary. So it's going to probably have to be like trade Gardner and like a 6th round pick for maybe like a conditional fifth or something like that. Like it's the juice isn't worth the squeeze in that situation. So that we're gonna have to ride that out. Same thing with Andre James, right? I know a lot of people want trade Andre James. Like we just paid Andre James, so it's gonna be a nice little dead cap hit. And then I don't think any other team wants him. I don't think anybody in the league looks at Andre James and says that's a guy I want on my team, especially the way he's played this year. I just don't see that being a realistic possibility. And other than that, we really don't have any other assets to trade, right? Like Jack Jones, maybe, but like does a team like he's proven that he's kind of an AP dependent player. When he's not with AP, he's like, I don't want to say useless, but he's not the same player as he is with AP. And then he's having a little bit of a down year as well, right? He's kind of proven that he's not a number one corner, or not the kind of corner we thought he would be. And Jacorian Bender's proven that he is the guy that we hoped Jack Jones would be. So I don't see us making any moves there. Maybe like, I mean, like, I'm trying to think, like, maybe if you don't anticipate bringing back a guy like Nate Hobbs or a guy like Spillane or a guy like Trevon Merrick, do you try to get something for him now? But I think the Raiders are kind of accumulating this cap space to go after free agents, but as well as to re-sign their own guys. So I don't know if we make any moves, to be honest with you. I don't think so. AP's demeanor tomorrow will tell you how confident he feels about his future. Yeah, I mean, today he seemed defiant. Like, we heard him in a post game presser. He was mad. He was like mad. But what's ironic is that there was another time when we had a black head coach that was bald headed, that was talking like this kind of reckless stuff about changes being made and all this stuff after a tough loss, and that was Hugh Jackson, and then he got fired by the new GM. So I'm not saying AP is going to be in that same situation, but like the last time that the head coach came out that defiantly saying there's going to be some big changes and all this stuff, the new GM who wasn't the guy that hired him ended up firing him. Right now we have a new GM that isn't the guy that hired Antonio Pierce. Could history repeat itself again? You never know. Yeah, man. Yeah, coach. I mean, look, it's not as much parity as it's been in the past. Or maybe I'm just paying attention to it much more just because I know we're chasing this draft position. So maybe I'm seeing it a little bit different. But it seems like, yeah, the bad teams are seem to be really, really bad, and the good teams seem to be really, really good. So it's the parity it's not there. Yeah, and in terms of Dart, I know a lot of people aren't sold on Dart. Like, there's questions about the system he runs there. He is with Lane Kiffin, who was, obviously the ex-Raiders coach. Lane Kiffin has, outside of his success in Conference USA, he's failed just about everywhere else. He failed in the NFL. He got to USC, he failed. He got to Tennessee, he failed there. Got to USC, he failed there. I remember they fired him and left him on the tarmac. And then he, went to Conference USA, and he had some success there. And now he's at Ole Miss. He's having some success there as well. So a lot of people question his system. It's a little bit gimmicky, a lot of backwards passes, a lot of like screen and stuff that's not really exactly duplicatable in NFL. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see where that goes, right? We'll see. Like Jackson Dart, I'm looking at him. He's a guy that was at SC. He had some moderate success there. But then he ended up getting beat out. And then he went to Ole Miss, and he's having tremendous success. He's putting up like video game crazy arcade numbers there. But like I said, part of that is the system. So you can't necessarily look at the numbers he's putting up there and really trust it. We can't trade any. Yeah, and that's also true. Like, if we start trading these players, like who plays? Like, we're already picking up street free agents, and they're like playing immediately. Like we picked up Caleb Von Chase, and he played like the next week. Like we're picking up. We just like had to sign Romel Keaton from the practice squad. We got Matthew Butler off the practice squad playing. We're going to have to probably pick up, I don't know the severity of Colton Miller's injury or the severity of Andres Pete's injury, but we're probably have to pick up some more offensive linemen there, just in case. So it's crazy. Like, and all of these firings, right? Like, why is AJ Neibel and Deuce Gruden, why are they not being kind of held to the fire? We've been a very injured team this year, extremely injured. And we paid all this money for these top of the line facilities. We pay all this money for all these trainers. Like, why are we not holding the guy who was our strength and conditioning coach and the assistant strength and conditioning coach? Why are we not holding them, accountable for the rash of injuries we've been having. Like I haven't heard their names being mentioned at all as people that should be fired or people that that deserve more scrutiny. And at this point, like they definitely deserve some scrutiny because like it's been a long time since I've seen the team this injured. It's been a long time. Work from Indiana, yeah, man. Like work from Indiana, and Indiana has like, man, like the last quarterback that had Indiana looking that good was Michael Penix when he was there with Kalen DeBoer. So it's been a long time since Indiana. Well, not a long time, but it's been a few years since Indiana had a quarterback at that level. And Rourke he's a guy. He's climbing draft boards. He is definitely climbing draft boards. My guy Pharaoh, he sent me an article about the guy from LSU, Nussmeier. I know some people like him. They're also the quarterback from Clemson. Damn, his name escapes me right now. K Klubnik. A lot of people are liking him too. But I'm strictly right now. It's Cam Moore, Shedeur Sanders. Those are the two guys I'm honed in on, and I think like we have to do what's necessary to get one of those guys here with the Raiders. It's the Deion connection. Yeah, Brady likes him. I think Brady is training, but like Brady's like basically a mentor for him. So I could definitely see that happen. I don't know why you guys pop in my feed as a Rams fan. I hope you guys find a way to get back in the winning column. My whole fam Raiders, but it's tough with Chiefs in your division. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You guys had a hey guys, the Rams had a tough win today, man. I think somebody told me Nakua got ejected or something crazy like that. I know. I mean, I was watching the game a little bit, turning off and on. There's some questionable calls. You guys, the benefit of some questionable calls. I was watching that game because I picked against y'all, so sorry. But yeah, man. I know you guys had your years with Jeff Fisher, and then you guys, found Jared Goff, and then you guys found Sean McVay. You paired those two together, and then you guys, shot off like a rocket ship. And then when you guys saw that, Jared Goff possibly couldn't be the guy that's going to win your Super Bowl, you did what you needed to do to get a guy that could, and you got Matt Stafford, and you guys ended up winning the Super Bowl. So, I mean, there's many ways to skin a cat, but right now we're not in a position to say F them picks. We need to acquire all of them picks right now. That's what we need to be doing. Yeah, Mumford at guard. I think Mumford. Like I've been saying for a long time. For as sweet as his feet looked, like Sweet Feet Mumford is the name. For as nice as his feet looked out there, a wide receiver running them routes, he's not a guy that can play tackle. Man, he struggles with speed, and a lot of people thought he could play tackle in the league because he had that one good game against Khalil Mack. So people are like, oh my God, like Thayer Mumford, like he's the guy, he's the future at left tackle, but he's not the future at left tackle, right? He's a guy that he struggles with speed. So like anytime, like Cal Van Noy is 136 years old, and Cal Van Noy cooked him in that Ravens game. And Cal Van Noy, like he's a speedier guy, but he's not even like the quickest guy, in the league. And he made Mumford look like he was, walking with cement boots on. So imagine what some of these other speed rushers are going to do to him. Like he's not a guy that can be a full-time tackle. Try him at guard if you want to. I wouldn't mind that at all. He played some at Ohio State, but he's not a guy. He is not the answer at right tackle or left tackle. So that depth piece that could, and I would say a depth piece that can play tackle in the pinch. But we saw what happened today. Like Trey Hendrickson impregnated that man. Like he's going to be 9 months from now. It's going to be a little biracial baby that's going to be a future NFL player, in the Mumford household. Because like what Trey Hendrickson did to him today, it was awful. It was awful to watch as a Raiders fan, just as a person, just as a man, to see somebody just get destroyed like that. It was sad to see. It was sad to see. What I want, no, nah. I don't, man. I don't want to go back to that, man. Like you look at the coaches that are having success in the league right now, and it's not really those like militant type coaches like Belichick. And I know Belichick, and look, I will say this: whoever is Belichick's agent, that guy is a genius. A genius. Because his reputation is in full rehabilitation mode right now. We see him with the Mannings, and we see him with Ryan Clark, and we see he's laughing and he's joking and he's he's telling these little funny stories and these hilarious anecdotes. Like, oh man, this guy Bill Belichick, he's not as bad as we thought he is. Nah, man. I'm not trusting that guy. I'm not trusting that guy on my team. I'm not trusting. This is the same guy that wanted to get rid of Tom Brady to start Jimmy Garoppolo. That was before Tom Brady won another Super Bowl. And then they end up, getting rid of Tom Brady. Then he went to another team and he won another Super Bowl. So I'm not trusting that guy with my team, unfortunately. I don't think he had I think that I don't think the game has passed him by, but I just don't think his way of coaching, his way of teaching, his way of running an organization, that time has passed him by, right? That is not the new way. I'm sure he's still one of the more intelligent football minds on the planet Earth. But he's not a guy that I'm going to trust with the direction of my football team, especially if anywhere he goes, he's going to want full personnel control too. I'm sure we have a GM already. I doubt if he accepts anything less than total control. That's part of the reason why I'm sure he hasn't got jobs elsewhere, because as a coach, he's a very good coach. As a GM, he's not a good GM. He's not been a good GM at all. You just look at their history of picking like the skill players. Like it's been terrible outside of, well, I'm talk about Aaron Hernandez, but Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, like they have not been good at all at picking, especially wide receivers. So, and we need another wide receiver. Honestly, outside of Jacoby Myers, we got Brock Bowers, we got Jacoby. Trey Tucker is not a number 2 receiver that can be consistently a number 2 receiver. We'll see what we have on Ramel Keaton. DJ Turner is not a guy that can be consistently number 2 wide receiver. So I'm not trusting Bill Belichick with the direction of my football team, unfortunately. I think I'm the only one that thinks Shador to think that Shador to the Titans. Tax-free state, OC and OL coach, came from Bengals with Burrow, are a big family name in NFL, just like Sanders. It just makes too much sense. I see where you're going there. You're going, but would Deion want that? Would Deion want that? I think, and would Shador want that, right? Would Shador want that? I think Shador and Deion, Deion is a name in and of itself, right? So Deion, when he was choosing to go to a college team to be the head coach, I think he was going to take whatever opportunity was there for him. But I think that he prefers Shador being a good situation with good tutelage, and I think he wants him to be in a bigger market. And we have yet to see. And right now, if Shador is going to go to the Raiders, like they might have a little bit of say over who the next offensive coordinator is, right? They might have a little bit of say over, hey, you know what? Hey, if you make the move for this guy, then hey, maybe that improves the chances of Shador wanting to come there, or maybe Shador, hey, maybe they do some, maybe they do an Eli and kind of force their way, to the team of their preference, right? I don't think, but that being said, it also has to be a situation where, the Raiders have to be within striking distance to make a trade in order to go up there and get them. But Tennessee looks like they're a poorly ran organization. And so I don't know if that's somewhere that Deion or Shador would want to go, but you never know. The Raiders are always fighting for the W. Respect. This is one of the times I don't want them fighting for the W, right? I do not respect that at all. I do not want them fighting for the W. I want them to, hey, keep it a close game for 3 quarters. And then the 4th quarter, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. They playing because everybody's getting hurt. Yeah, true. There has been a lot of injuries, but Dylan Parham does have value, but he's still a young guard in the league. So do you want to, like we saw what the guard market was this past year, right? Guard market was insane. The guard market was insane. Like that's part, and that was part of the reason why the Raiders, part of the reason why they kept Andre James, right? Because of how insane the guard market was. So do we really want to get rid of the one like young kind of, well, I guess JPJ, but he's ideally he's moving to center. So do we want to get rid of our other young guard and potentially have to pay another guard, or you want to draft a guard, and the draft, it's kind of always a crapshoot. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But I don't think I would trade because I think we have team control over Dylan Parham for one more additional year. So we still have him next year. So if we're gonna make a move with him, then I think next year will be the year to do it, not this year. And when Deion said he's gonna pick on where Shedeur going, I honestly think he meant by where the best OC at. Deion, more than anybody knows, going to a team can bring the best out of him. Yeah, facts, man. Facts. And if he comes to the Raiders, he has the opportunity to have a heavy hand in who the offensive coordinator is for the Raiders, right? I mean, we all know about these back channels in NFL, guys communicating, hey, you know what? I like this offensive coordinator. Have you seen this guy run this scheme or seen this guy run that scheme? Like that can play a role. Bo Hardegree, Bo Hardegree is the quarterback's coach in Tennessee too. So it's like that's another thing. You see Will Levis. Like Will Levis, he seems like he's regressed more than anything. So I mean, I don't know about Bo Hardegree, and not like our quarterback play was stellar last year. So I know Aiden O'Connell had some flashes toward the end of the year, but Jimmy G was pretty horrible. Brian Hoyer pretty horrible. Aiden O'Connell really wasn't that great, right? Like Aiden O'Connell had success because we were able to run the ball over those last games. Zamir White was the best running back in the league, and if you look at yards per carry and yards, he was number one. So we were able to rely on our run game and as well as our defense. And we are the number one so we're the number one rushing team, and we're the number one defense over that last stretch. So we didn't force Aiden O'Connell to do too much. So that's why he looked better than what he was. But you put him in a situation where he has to carry an offense, he's not going to fare well. And we've seen the stat, right? Like we saw the stat, and if somebody else talked about it, I know Pharaoh brought it up as well. Like Aiden O'Connell has never rushed in his entire time in NFL. Set a record for the amount of snaps without actually attempting to rush or to rush for positive yardage. And this is a different game. You have to be able to move. You see Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's not a guy that's known for his mobility. Even Stafford's out there, trying to make plays with the legs. I've seen Jared Goff do it. We saw Joe Flacco do it. You have to be able to make some plays with your legs when they're there. And all the time we've seen Aiden O'Connell drop back and pass, not once, not a single solitary time has he ever rushed for positive yardage. That's a red flag in today's NFL. That is a red flag. Raider Way Hugh, they're not bringing Hugh back, man. Hugh was a guy that he was rumored to he was going to have a role on this staff, and I think that would have made a lot of sense. But for whatever reason, they elected not to do it. Ironically, what was crazy is that what the Raiders need is they need an offensive coach that's still pretty young. A guy that has had success as an offensive coordinator, who knows how to coach the quarterback position, who we've seen coach a young quarterback that's drafted fairly high to have some success, right? A guy that comes from a winning culture, and a guy that is not going to immediately look to bolt for the first head coaching position. Probably because, it'd be a situation where he's likely not going to be offered that head coach position, right? Know who fits that bill perfectly, but it's never going to happen. I wouldn't want it to happen, but the guy that fits that bill perfectly, Josh McDaniels. If Josh McDaniels wasn't our coach, he would have been a perfect OC candidate, because we've seen what he can do as OC. Like Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, that guy's a world beater. But Josh McDaniels, the head coach, that guy is trash. That's why nobody's ever going to hire him as a head coach again. So we don't have to worry about anybody trying to swoop in and steal him if he has a good year offensively, because they're like, man, we've seen this guy. Yeah, he's a good offensive coordinator, but he can't be a head coach. So he's never going anywhere. So that's what we kind of need. The coach had that forever with Tom Moore. I mean, Bruce Arians was one of those guys as well. That was offensive coordinator forever. Really had no expectation to ever be a head coach. And look, and when he finally did get his shot, only reason he got his shot is because Chuck Pagano, I think, he had that I want to say it was leukemia. I believe that's what it was for Chuck Pagano. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but he had that diagnosis. Then Bruce Arians took over, and the coach were killing under Bruce Arians, and then that guy got him a shot to be a head coach. But like Bruce Arians was going to likely go through the rest of his career never ever being given a shot as a head coach, and he seemed like he was going to be fine with that. So sometimes you just gotta find that correct guy, man. You gotta find that correct. What's going on, Christian Adame? Draft talking November. You damn right. Draft talking November. Our season's over, bro. What are we talking about? Or what are we gonna do on the bye week? Like he's like, this season is done. I'm starting draft week. Yes, starting it now. I'm about to start dropping my drafts. I am about to start. Watch out. Hey, Around the Shield. Check out Around the Shield. I would say that. Check out Around the Shield. It's gonna be some mock drafts dropping soon, sooner than later. Believe that. Salute Christian. Yeah, man, we're on the clock, man. We are. Yes, it's facts. Right away. Let them know, man. We are on the clock. We've been on the clock for quite some time. We have been on the clock for quite some time. LV, the traders will lose for eternity. So understand they have sold their soul. I don't know what that means, but shout out to you. Must be trouble. Yeah, Isaiah Randolph. I'm not a real fan of clubbing either. I know they've been high. He's a guy that took DJ U's job, but then we kind of see what DJ U has done since he left Clemson, and he has been horrible. Last name Gruden, that's why. Yeah, Deuce. Yeah, I feel you on that. True. But still, I would get rid of him. It's about time we fire Getsy. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't too keen on firing him because I don't think he's had the requisite talent to do what he needs to do. But yeah, man, like it is what it is at this point, man. I was okay with keeping him. If he's losing, we losing. Hey, keep on losing. I appreciate you, Juice, man. Yeah, man, I'm hoping we find our way back as well, man. Good luck to you guys. So I want to root for the Rams, man, but I got a cousin who's obnoxious as hell. That's a Rams fan. So like, it makes me not want to. I just don't want to hear his mouth. Like, other than that, I have nothing against the Rams, but I just can't stand him talking trash all the time. Mumford got pushed. Man, he got destroyed on. Oh my God, when he bull rushed him, hit him with that speed to power move. Oh my God, that was embarrassing. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Vrabel is a guy. Vrabel is a name that's been floated out there, man. Vrabel is a name that's been floated out there. Vrabel had. I'm gonna fix what I said. But that Vrabel had like Ryan Tannehill, when he was playing at his best. He had DeAndre Hopkins and he had Derrick Henry all at the same time, and he really never won anything. So it's like, do you really want to trust Vrabel? Then he has a reputation around the league. I know people kind of saying he was kind of a bully and he's kind of intimidating people. So is that something that Mark Davis wants to bring into the Raider organization? I don't know. I don't know what kind of relationship him and Brady have. I know they have the Patriots tie there, but like will Brady want to bring in a guy that can be potentially that kind of like actor, especially in the business setting? I don't know. But that is an interesting name. That is an interesting name. That is a name to watch out for. If the O-line is questionable, there's no point in taking a QB. O-line in Washington was questionable too. They took a QB. O-line in Chicago was questionable too. They took a QB. O-line in Houston was questionable too. They took a QB. So ideally like the O-line in Cincy was questionable too, and they took a quarterback. Now, obviously that's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Obviously, Joe Burrow missed a whole bunch of time his first year. Second year, they go to the Super Bowl. Third year, I think he missed some time too, and he's been kind of hurt. But generally, these teams that are drafting high, they generally need offensive linemen. But what's more valuable to your franchise, a quarterback or offensive lineman? A quarterback. What's more valuable to your franchise, an offensive lineman or a tight end? An offensive lineman. Everybody's out there trying to argue different. Yeah, man, and that's kind of the way to go. A young offensive-minded coach. That's been what has brought about the most success for teams recently, right? You see what happened with Sean McVay. They went from an older retread and Jeff Fisher. Sean McVay in his first year, immediately the team is night and day different. It's a little bit different with DeMeco Ryans in with the Texans, because he brought over Bobby Slowick, and I think Bobby Slowick has made all the difference there. Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins, same thing there. Kevin O'Connell, we see what he's doing up there with Minnesota. So generally, teams they're going to go with the offensive minded coach. So I think that if we do move on from Antonio Pierce, I think that I think offensive minded coach, a young offensive mind will probably be the way to go, because that's what teams have been doing, because you don't have to worry about what happens if you fire your offensive coordinator, right? Or if your offensive coordinator takes another head coaching job. Like, I don't know how many of Kyle Shanahan's offensive coordinators have got head coaching jobs elsewhere. Plenty of them, right? Like almost year after year, these guys are getting hired away, and that offense keeps churning. Part of that is talent, but also part of that is that he's one of the better offensive minds in the league. We definitely found our center in JPJ. I know you see it with spell check right there, but yeah, Belichick is old. That's another thing. Belichick is old, so how long do you really have him? Cadillac Williams should have got fired too. RB play this year has been abysmal. RB play, a lot of that is the offensive line. To be completely honest with you, it's no way in the world that every single one of your running backs are going to be that bad, right? It's nearly impossible. And just watching the tape, his offensive line play has been bad. Whoever is the run game coordinator on offense, I don't know if that is the off. Generally, it's the offensive line coach. But if it is Cadillac, that is the offensive run game coordinator, then yeah, he definitely should have been in chopping block. But usually the offensive run game coordinator is your offensive line coach. So I think that's part of the reason why James Cregg was relieved of his duties. Yeah, man, JPJ did his thing at center, man. I think I don't see any reason why we would ever put Andre James back at center. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Like we found our guy. He's a young guy. He has the talent. He has the attitude. He has the intelligence. Stick with him, and let him grow into that role, man. Let him grow into that role. Must be trouble, Belichick. If Belichick is coaching the Raiders, how will he fleece the Raiders in trade? Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the one trade, right? The Randy Moss trade, but yeah. Titans, Raiders, Giants, Browns. Every time the Raiders lose, Shador tweets, "Thank you, God." I swear, damn, that's crazy. I got you. I don't follow him, man. I gotta check that out. Cards or Dark Nurse NFC. I mean, I said before the year, when they were talking about the worst teams in the league, I said that the Cardinals, I think they had the Cardinals on the list, and I said they shouldn't have been on the list. I said that the Cardinals are going to be a lot better than what people thought they would be. And they're kind of proving me right. Even though I keep picking, this is weird, crazy. I said they would be better than what people thought they would be. Then I've picked against them a few times, and they've won those games. So we'll kind of see. Hugh, I was referring to. Oh yeah. Hugh was a guy. Yeah, Hugh was that guy. Yeah, and that post game presser, a lot of people think that's what cost him his job. Kingsbury would have stayed with the Raiders. Would have been, yeah, I think that would have been a better offensive team. I mean, it's only so much more it's only so much you can do when you don't have the talent. Like I keep saying, sometimes it's the X's and O's, sometimes it's the Jessies and Joes or the Jimmies and Joes, whatever you say it. But I don't think we have a Jimmy or a Jesse or a Joe. We got nobody, right? We got a Brock, and that's about all. We got a Brock, and we got a JPJ, and we got a Jacoby on offense. And other than that, I don't think we have too many guys. I got Austin Avila. Yeah, man. Got to put that work in, man. This is the time of the year. But I am about to call it a night, though, man. It is getting late. I do need to hit the gym. So, yeah, that means they sold out for a free taxpayer-funded stadium and won't ever win. Pick a new team. I mean, that's what most of these a lot of these stadiums around the league are taxpayer funded though. So I mean, just about out unless you have a crazy rich owner, all those stadiums are taxpayer funded. So and the way the Raiders funded their stadium, the people of most of the money isn't coming from the citizens of Nevada. It's coming from money that's really raised through, I believe, sales tax and hotel taxes and fees. So it's not really impacting the people that live in Nevada, and if anything, it's hitting the people that are visitors. and the stadium is bringing in a lot of revenue via, stimulating the local economy via these games, via people come flying in to stay at these hotels, coming in, shopping at these local shops, patronizing these restaurants, all that stuff. So it's also generating money. Is Crosby on his way to Detroit? Unless he's visiting family this week during the bye, I don't. He's not on his way to Detroit. Other than that, I mean, I know I don't know if he has Detroit. I think he's from that up there. But yeah, like I said, unless he's out there visiting family, that's the only way he's on his way to Detroit. First 3 rounds in the draft, which position groups are you addressing? I understand we got free agent. Just hypothetically, quarterback first. I'm getting a quarterback first. Second round, I'm probably taking another wide receiver. Third round is when I would start to look at running back. Third round, I'll start to look at running back in the third round. I think we need an infusion of talent at running back, right? I don't think it's all on our running backs. I don't think it's completely on our running backs, but I do think we need an infusion of talent there. So yeah, I'm quarterback first. Then I'm looking at wide receiver in the second round, wide receiver, or maybe another guard. Since we are gonna, since I would like us to move JPJ to center, maybe another guard there. But I don't know what their plans are going to be going forward. Hopefully their plan is to keep him at center, but if their plan is not to keep him at center, the plan is to keep him at center, I definitely start looking at guard in the second round. But yeah, man, I think we need another weapon, because Tucker is not a guy that I think can be our weapon, can be our number 2 wide receiver. Yeah, man, Crosby ain't getting traded. Like literally, Mark Davis sent a memo to all of the beat writers saying we're not trading Max Crosby. So yeah, we can knock that off. PSLs too. Yep, PSLs too. QB, OT. Maybe OT if you feel that they're going to move on from Colton, but I don't feel that's moving on from Colton. I don't see any reason why we would move on from Colton. Right? Like I know a lot of people want to say that, but like we saw what happened as soon as he left the game. As soon as he left the game, Andres Pete got destroyed, and then Thayer Munford got destroyed as well. So, I'm sticking with Colton. He's a guy that's been good. You say right tackle. I think DJ Glaze is the guy there. He's been very good in pass pro. I think he needs to get stronger in the run game, and I think that he's still only 21 years old. So I think that he's going to get stronger. I think this, generally you see the biggest leap in NFL players from their first to their second year. And just thinking about that, think about how scary Brock is going to be next year. Yikes. But I think he'll come back stronger and better in the run game next year. I think he's legit our answer at right tackle. Yeah, I'm down with another 3 technique D2. Yeah, 2 and 3. Yeah, Jenkins is old. Yeah, we need that. If you're looking at 3 technique is more Christian Wilkins. So we need like another like 0 or another like nose tackle type. So yeah, he is old, man. We hoped Nesta would be that guy, but obviously he's not with the team anymore. We also we do have lots of cap space to sign some guys. Yeah, so I make some intelligent like our guy, like when we signed a guy like Jacoby. Like I know a lot of people criticize that signing when we first signed him. So why we need another receiver? I liked that signing at the time. I thought that was great value, especially for his talent. That's proved to be a good signing. Adam Butler was a guy that proved to be a very good signing as well. QB, OT, CB, linebacker. Yeah, right. Yeah, man, I'm probably, going QB first round. I'm holding off on the OT. Even cornerback, I'm kind of holding off on cornerback, kind of hoping that, either DCAM or Jack can turn into a guy. Linebacker, I'm not taking until later on. Wide receiver, I'm going wide receiver, second round. Maybe I start to look at some running backs in the third, fourth rounds. Maybe some cornerbacks in the third, fourth round as well, just for some more depth, especially if we decide not to bring back Nate Hobbs. But yeah, man. I'm down with all those positions except OT. But if you want to take like a flyer on an OT later on, I got no issue with that. I got thought that one already. So to every Raider fans, I knew this was coming. Yeah, It's just, I mean, I didn't think they would do it. I didn't think they would do it. I thought they would kind of, I thought they would hold on to get you to the end of the year, for nothing else, because we see like AP just got done saying he's not going to criticize play calling. He's not going to, talk about that at all. It's about execution, execution, execution. And then he just said that last week, and then next thing you know, he fires the play caller. So I mean, I don't know, man. Michael Mayer, I do not know. AP said he was supposed to be back. Supposed to be back soon. My assumption is that he kind of uses this bye week to get himself back into shape. Maybe misses the week 11 game too, and then he's back for week 12. AP made it seem like it was very soon. Question: Shador, Cam? If either the two, I prefer Cam right now, but I like both of them. I do like both of them. What's your idea on Bill O'Brien? He was a guy, Ricky, when he was good. QB. Oh, you know what? That is an interesting name. That is a name I did not. Cause hey, Greg Lira, shout out to you. That is a very interesting name. I didn't even think about him. He's a guy that that I think that he was Tom Brady's quarterbacks coach. He's a guy that's bounced around a little bit, been in OC a few places. He's a guy that I don't think he will be interested or get any consideration for head coaching jobs anytime soon, because of how we kind of handle things with the Texans, especially the trade. Trading DeAndre Hopkins for, like, I think what was the guy's name? The running back, I forget his name, but yeah, trading DeAndre Hopkins because he didn't get along with him. But he's a guy. I mean, like, I think he did bring the best out of Deshaun Watson. So that is a very interesting name. History with quarterbacks. Tom Brady's quarterback coach. Like, that's interesting. I think him and Tom Brady, they had some public sideline spats. But I think he's a guy that he wasn't afraid to coach Tom Brady hard. And I think that generally alpha males, they respect that. They respect that more. They respect somebody that's not going to cower to them and try to be nice to them because of who they are, because of their talent or anything like that. Like, they like to be coached hard. So I think Tom Brady probably respects the guy. So that's an interesting name as an offensive coordinator. Yeah, I think we should keep Robert Spillane. I mean, Robert Spillane, he had a bad game today. Him and Diablo. This was Diablo's worst game since week 1 against the Chargers. And this was probably Spillane's worst game since the Panthers game. Was that week 3? So they both struggled, but yeah, man, I think we should keep Spillane. I think he's, him and Max are like the heartbeats of the team, man. Those are two guys that are, and he was out there today. Really probably didn't have no business being out there. He was a little bit hobbled. He got hurt last game, stayed in there that game, came back here, played this week. So he's a guy that's going to be there for his teammates. He's a leader. Just plays every snap. So I definitely think we should bring him back. Yeah. Oh yeah. Bill O'Brien is fairly young. Shield 60. We need an AC or run back. I mean, I think the question is still out on in terms of head coach, but definitely running back and wide receiver. I don't know. I don't know what the organization is feeling about Antonio Pierce right now. I mean, these firings, it lets me know that Antonio Pierce doesn't feel too confident and too secure in his job. So we'll see. Mayer, yeah, he's out for personal reasons, and you haven't got an explanation on that. Resigns plan, yeah, I agree. Oh my God, Austin Avila, Brady loves Bill O'Brien. Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they have a mutual respect for each other. But that being said, man, I've been on live since about 7 o'clock. Like I said, man, I'm about to hit the gym. I gotta be up early for work. But yeah, man. Check me out, man. You guys know where to find me at the Severe Raider here on YouTube, the Severe Raider on IG, the Severe Raider on X, the Severe Raider on Snapchat, the Severe Raider on TikTok. Make sure you guys follow my other channel, well, not my other channel, but follow Around the Shield. I'm a contributor to that page as well. It is Around the Shield with the 1 instead of the L. So Around the Shield, but the 1 instead of the L. And I got every Tuesday night do a show with my guy. For real. I mean, not for I'm saying I just took my kids to see the Lego movie, so that's on my mind. But I do a show with my guy Pharaoh, the 50/50 show every Tuesday night. So be on the lookout for that. A lot more to discuss that day, especially when to see Antonio Pierce's presser tomorrow, kind of see what he says about these firings, get a read on where he is at mentally, kind of look at his demeanor. We'll kind of turn into some pseudo psychologists, some body language experts, and kind of analyze and break down, exactly what we think and from how he's standing and how he's delivering and what he's saying. And also on Tuesday, I do a show with my guys, Protect the Shield, Chris from Protect the Shield, and 805 Raider, who I was live with earlier today. We'll probably be breaking down some film. If we get news on who our offensive coordinator is going to be, we'll probably look at some of what they bring to the table and kind of see if we can decipher kind of what our offense will look like going forward. Greg Lou, I would love to keep AP along, but yeah, I would like that too. Shout out to my guy Mac Attack, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. I don't think I've ever seen you before, man. Make sure you guys hit the sub button. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up as well. And if you guys have anything extra in to say, have anything extra to say, make sure you guys hit in the comment section, man. I try to make sure I get to all my comments. Sometimes I'm a day or two late, so bear with me if you don't hear something from me. I'm generally working. And I'm a football dad. My son plays youth football, so they have practice 4 days a week. And I take them to a trainer as well. So I don't always get back to you guys immediately, man, but I try to make sure I get back to every comment. Appreciate you, Mac Attack, man. Appreciate you, my guy Austin Avila. Salute, appreciate you, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, Mac Attack. This my first solo live, man. So hey, hope to see you. It's gonna be more to come, man. Plenty more to come. But everybody else in the chat, man. Hey, if I didn't get to your chat, if you guys have something else to say, make sure you leave in the comment section. But other than that, peace. Good night, and Raider Nation for life.